The house was quiet. Too quiet. A friend stood at the front door of Michelle Neurauta's home in Corning, New York, knocking, waiting. They were supposed to pick up Michelle's youngest daughter for swim practice, but no one answered. Through the glass, the scene inside was eerie. Michelle stood motionless at the base of the staircase. Her body hung from the banister, lifeless. No note, no explanation. Police arrived quickly, treating it as a likely suicide. But even in those first moments, something didn't add up. Michelle wasn't known to be depressed. She loved her children, and the way she was found, it felt staged. The daughter who was supposed to be inside was missing. Hours later, Carrie, Michelle's middle child, called police from Rochester, insisting she had her younger sister safe with her. She explained she'd been at the house the night before, had argued with her mother, and stormed out, taking her sister with her. To police, it sounded like a family tragedy. To Michelle's friends, it was impossible to believe, and to detectives, it was the beginning of a murder investigation that would expose a father and daughter pact as twisted as any cult. Lloyd and Michelle Neurauta had been married for 25 years, but the foundation of their family had long been cracking. Upstate New York had been their home, their safe bubble, but beneath the surface tension simmered. Lloyd was charismatic, eccentric and controlling, a man who thrived on attention. His daughters were his world, especially Carrie, the middle child, his favourite. He drove her to ballet every Saturday, orchestrated her life in subtle, suffocating ways, and slowly turned her loyalty into obedience. Michelle, by contrast, was dedicated, intelligent and charitable. She had earned a master's degree in literature, homeschooled her children, volunteered in the community, and later worked as an English professor and at Corning Incorporated. She poured herself into her family, but over time, the strain of her marriage began to wear on her. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, Lloyd lost his job and moved to Princeton, New Jersey. Distance and financial stress fractured the marriage. Divorce followed. Custody battles erupted. The oldest child went with Lloyd. Carrie and the youngest stayed with Michelle. Fights and tension became daily life. Calls to 911, reports of arguments and minor altercations. They were routine, almost expected. By 2017, Carrie was attending Rochester Institute of Technology, while the custody battles and lingering resentment set the stage for tragedy. The family was fractured, yes, but behind closed doors, darker forces were brewing, and the arguments that seemed typical of divorced parents were about to escalate into something deadly. It was late on Saturday, August 26, 2017. Tension crackled inside the Neruda household. Michelle and Carrie argued, shouts echoing through the rooms, doors slamming, furniture slightly askew from the scuffle. The youngest daughter slept downstairs, oblivious to the storm. Carrie stormed out, dragging her sister along, leaving the house eerily quiet. By 1 a.m., Michelle's fate had already been sealed. But how? No forced entry. Nothing stolen. The scene would later reveal scratch marks on her face, signs of struggle, and her body positioned unnaturally, suspicious for a supposed suicide. Outside, the quiet streets of Corning hid the horror inside. The clock was ticking, and someone had planned this carefully, someone who knew the family well. Police arrived, treating it initially as a likely suicide. But lead detectives noticed inconsistencies. Scratches, displaced furniture, possible blood smears on the walls. Questions mounted. Who had access? Who had motive? Michelle's divorce from Lloyd had been acrimonious, full of custody battles, unpaid alimony disputes, and long-standing resentment. Calls to 911 over years hinted at escalating tension. Carrie's account conflicted with the youngest's. The timeline was messy, suspicious. The detectives began to theorize. Perhaps Michelle had not taken her own life. Perhaps someone staged it. The pieces were fragmentary, but the pattern was forming. Someone close had the knowledge, the opportunity, and most chillingly, the motive to make this scene look like a suicide while hiding a darker truth. Detectives started piecing together the timeline. CCTV showed Lloyd and Carrie leaving together on the night of Michelle's death, only to return hours later. Cell phone records confirmed Lloyd had claimed to be elsewhere, but cameras told a different story. Wiretaps captured fragmented conversations, subtle manipulations and excuses. Police began to see a chilling pattern: Lloyd's controlling influence over Carrie, the orchestrated removal of the youngest child, and the precision with which the house was staged. Motive became clear: custody disputes, financial strain, and a twisted plan to evade responsibility. Every clue pointed inward. The family itself held the answer. What had looked like chaos was actually a calculated act. When questioned separately, Carrie eventually agreed to a plea deal. She revealed how her father had manipulated her, convincing her that Michelle's death was necessary to save him. Together, they had staged the scene, hanging Michelle over the banister while maintaining the illusion of suicide.
Can you tell us what you observed, what you remember? Who went in the house first?
My dad went in the house. Well, we went in the house at the same time.
Okay.
And then, wait, no, that's a lie. I'm sorry. I went in the house and scoped it out, I guess. And I went back to my car.
When you scoped it out, did you know what it was at that point?
Yeah, I saw it on the couch.
Okay.
So I just told her, like, oh, Mom's still freaking out. My dad went upstairs into my mom's room, and she was like, what are you doing? Boyley, why are you here? And so she was yelling, and then she was like, why? What? He's out of money, he can't pay rent, he can't pay for stuff. Basically, he was going to kill himself. Or there was this way to make it so he wouldn't kill himself, which was killing my mom. And he was going to put a towel in her mouth so she could be quiet. And then put the rope around her neck and strangle her.
Well,
I'm a liar.
where? Okay.
Lloyd, cornered, confessed fully. His arrogance, control, and obsession had driven him to orchestrate the murder of his ex-wife. DNA, fingerprints, and forensic evidence confirmed the act. The story of a father-daughter alliance in cruelty emerged, a dark testament to manipulation and obsession. Lloyd was sentenced to life without parole for first-degree murder, along with additional years for conspiracy and custodial interference. Carrie received a lesser sentence for manslaughter but was released on parole after cooperating. Michelle's mother read a statement detailing Lloyd's manipulations and abuse, exposing his cult-like control over the children.
That's what he does. He cons people. He's so nice. He's just so nice, and he brings them in and then goes out for the kill.
Before Lloyd was arrested, he attempted to take his own life by jumping off a building, but that didn't work.